And up next, I would like to welcome our next presenter, our next keynote presenter, Mr. Abdul Salam Knio. He is the managing partner, ICT Qatar, and he will be giving his keynote presentation on demystifying digital transformation. Over to you, Abdul.
Thank you very much. And I will share my screen. Okay. Allow me.
Sure.
Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen, sir.
Perfect. All right. So, okay. So thank you very much for giving me the chance to talk about digital transformation. This subject is being consumed sometimes positively, sometimes negatively. And there's a lot of confusion and numerous definitions of digital transformation. Some people see it as a technology evolution about digital technologies, maybe because of the word digital. And some people see it as a business transformation, and which is the reality. Actually, it's more of a cultural business transformation. So I want to take this chance of talking about this subject and sharing with you some insights on the, first of all, I will start with the digital economy in general. So we'll talk about the digital economy, few words, 2 slides, then digital transformation and what are the characteristics and what's needed to do. Then the promise, then the human capacities, and what are the jobs that are needed in the digital economy, and then some insights on statistics, on the numbers worldwide on the adoption of digital. So first of all, the digital economy is, when we are talking digital business, then we are talking about a more global and inclusive framework. And this gives the organizations who try to play in the digital economy a wider exposure and chance to include and to capture more customers in the world. However, the main feature and main characteristic of the digital economy is innovation. Innovation has been underestimated or undermanaged in many organizations, in many enterprises for many years. But now, organizations who want to play in the digital economy, they have to invest in the innovation. And when I say innovation, it's either business processes or ideas and design thinking when they design their services to, in the digital world. So they have to be well thought of, and that is key in the digital economy. Another thing we need to realize in the digital economy is that there is a need to rebalance the role of technology versus the role of humans. So we call it minds and machines. So a lot of processes that have been done currently by people will be done by machines and by technology. And new roles such as innovation and more will be done by humans. So there is a need in the digital economy to rebalance the roles of humans versus the roles of technology. The digital economy will help us to optimize the business process.
Abdul?
Yes?
Abdul, I would like to request you to kindly click on full screen.
Yes. Is that...
can you see 3 dots here? No, over there on the top right hand side.
Top right, yeah.
The center one. Out of the 3, the center one, please. That square thing. On top right, the square thing.
No.
Okay. Okay, no problem. We can proceed with that. Thank you.
Okay, but I will try. You mean on the, yeah, okay.
Yeah, probably if you can, yeah, just make it full screen. Yeah, this one I think should.
I'm not sure. You
I-
didn't choose.
I'm sorry, Mr. Abdul, right below the presentation, you see the pen symbol.
Yes,
And yeah, you
yes,
can click the second one. Yeah.
I tried. It took me
Oh,
to,
okay.
yeah. Anyway, so what matters here in what I'm saying is not the what's written on the slides, but let's consider that what's written on the slides are kind of just bullet points where I'm trying to elaborate and explain. The purpose of the digital economy, or one of the characteristics of the digital economy, is that it helps us to optimize the business processes and become more agile. Um, sorry. Yeah. And in the digital, when we do our business in the digital way, we expect things to be more intelligent, more predictive, more accurate, more consistent, and more scalable, easily scalable. Also, the digital economy offers us the possibility of having a unified and adaptive user experience. So if you look today, for example, if you use Uber application in Qatar, you use it in the US and in China is the same user interface and the same expectations. Also, we will be able to do more data-driven decisions rather than assumptive and best practices and more. So there are a lot of advantages of the digital economy. Whereas the challenges, some of the challenges of the digital economy are it's the fact that it is disruptive. It changes the way we do business. It pushes us to reconsider the way we do business, and this is challenging because people normally hate change. There are new jobs and roles created as a result of the digital adoption and digital business process, which means some jobs will no more be available as well, and new jobs will be created. And that's also disrupting the career development and creating opportunities as well. And the digital economy, it's more competitive because here it's global, as we said. So you have, it's good to move to the digital, but it's very hard to compete in the digital unless you are taking the right measures and the right steps in order to be able to play and compete in the digital economy. Because also in the digital, it's easy to imitate. It's easy to do a similar idea. There's no governance such as copyrights here. And I mean, you can just change and inspire services and make replicas of those services. The challenge, one of the challenges of the digital economy, it requires new jurisdictions and new policymakers to make new rules and a bigger governance for that, because the way a business is transacting in the digital world is barrierless. It goes beyond the geography and the territory, political territory, let me say, and it goes more global. So we need to have a governance and a kind of jurisdictions to judge and to arbitrate in case of any conflicts. Because of the wider adoption of digital technologies and the exposure of the business assets to the internet, then we have a higher risk of cyber security, cyber threats. So that also need to be well covered, and I'm sure that this conference is talking much about the subject later on. And the bad thing, or let me say the challenging thing of the digital economy, that it requires a cultural evolution and cultural adoption. And that's normally difficult when you are trying to change a business model that has been proven and it's a legacy for many years, and to try to let people who are used on traditional economy and tell them now you have to move to the digital economy. So that requires a cultural acceptance and cultural adaptation. So that's, if you like, the notion of digital economy. Now I will be going to talking about digital transformation in specific. So, as I said at the beginning, digital transformation is how to create new business models by leveraging the power of digital technologies. And those new business models would need to consider different considerations, not just technology considerations, but there are political, economic considerations, social considerations, legal considerations, environmental considerations. So all those considerations, when you are designing a business model, or when you want to go to a business, a new business model in the digital, all those considerations need to be taken in mind and be integrated into a new business model, which makes it which opens a lot of opportunities. I don't want to sound that digital is a scary thing. It's actually it's a lot of fun and a lot of opportunities. But we need to understand the whereabouts of this of moving to digital, which is inevitable today. So we don't have a choice not to go there. So we need to go there, but we need to be very systematic. So the essentials of a effective digital transformation process requires a strong leadership. So people or organizations that are undergoing a transformation project, they need to make sure, first of all, that there is a strong leadership in the organization because of the fact that it's disruptive. They need to consider this in a holistic way. They need to make sure that the skill set and processes are the required skill sets are available. They have to create an innovation or innovative mindset, because as I said earlier, innovation is the essence of digital transformation. So that point need not to be undermined anymore. And we need to be aware that leading in the digital economy and creating a differentiator and creating a brand in the digital economy and proving ourselves is not an easy job, but it's required and it's also rewarding if done properly. So we have seen over the last decade a lot of services that has changed the classical way of doing things. Uber, for example, they changed the way of taxi being conducted, Netflix with the movies and so on. So what does the digital transformation promise organizations if they adopt it? And they have to. So it promises them that it will allow them to make more data-driven decisions. And that's by itself a chapter actually need to be taken separately, because when we say data-driven decisions, it means we need to make sure that data is data. So cleansing of data and data sources need to be identified. But let's assume that we have the right data in front of us, so we will be able to do data-driven decisions, which is much more predictable and more trusted. So it also promises us to innovate, as we said. It helps us to leverage the power of platforms, and we have seen everything is being now a platform. And the power of platform is not just for e-commerce, as we've seen in like Uber and the others, but also the networking power of the platform. So the platforms, the more people use the platform, it can be used in addition to the main purpose of the platform for data analysis, behavioral analysis, sentimental for research, and for marketing. So the network impact or network effect of platforms is very important. As we said, digital marketing, minds and machines, exceeding user expectations. So it is important to notice that it is not enough anymore for the new customer who is today considered a millennial. The millennials are the people who were, when they started to be aware of life around them, internet was there and internet services were offered. So those people who are today in the age of 20 plus or 15 even plus till 30 are people who have very much high expectations from technology and from the business process. So we cannot just stay on all traditional processes and not to update our business process to meet those expectations. So it is important in order to drive or to play in the digital economy to invest in the right human capital and to acquire new skills in the areas that are highly demanded now of artificial intelligence, analytics, fintech, cybersecurity, etc. So there is a lot of high demand on new skills that we advise graduates and the people who are interested to guarantee a sustainable career to invest in those areas. New roles, we have seen new roles also, as we said, CDO, Chief Digital Officer, Chief Digital and Marketing Officer, Scrum for project management, etc. Innovation and design thinking will be a role and will be, as we said earlier, a key player in the enterprises. The concept of crowdsourcing will be more welcomed, and people will not depend only on local resources, but also will augment resources and will contribute and collaborate with other skills. So we not only buy resources or we source resources, we source also specific ideas and knowledge in order to complete a certain project. We need the digital economy is demanding a lot of digital marketing skills, and digital marketing not in the classical way of just advertisement and social media, but beyond, which is more targeted, personalized marketing activities that are more beneficial and rewarding. So the digital is promising us to have more inclusive culture. It will allow people from younger ages to contribute to this economy. We have seen now children in young age buying and transacting on the digital platforms and collaborating. The education as a result of COVID now has been boosted, and so the digital today is allowing a bigger inclusion of the users into it. So I would like also to shed some light on the highly demanded jobs these days. We need to realize the fact that there is more than 1 million jobs of data scientists is missing in the world today. So the world is in need of 1 million data scientists today. So people who are doing computer engineering or computer science are highly advised to do master's degrees in data science or to develop data science skills. And those data science skills need also to be oriented towards specific industries, such as healthcare, education, oil and gas, transportation, banking, etc. So it's not enough only to be a good data scientist, but you need to also to gain the flavor of the industry, because every industry has its own specifics. Skills in the analytics, jobs in the project management of Agile and Scrum, software developers in data science like in R and Python. Industry 4.0, IoT and IIoT, industrial IoT. This is also an area that is lagging a little bit behind in our region. I mean, we see cloud and probably artificial intelligence are on the front, but for sure, leveraging on those other technologies also, we can put a framework for operations and manufacturing and smart cities in order to provide more smart operations, leveraging on the fourth industrial revolution. Design thinking jobs and design thinking specializations is highly required for the same reason mentioned before. Fintech experts, we need fintech experts a lot. The reason is that as we have seen a lot of financial services, financial technologies, and today we call fintech and regtech, which is regulatory technology. They are all integrated to validate and make sure that the financial transactions are legally regulated and automatically validated. So those experts today, I think fintech will have a bigger role in the future of business. So more skills are required to be developed in that area. I would like to share in the last 2 slides now some insights on the worldwide insights on what's going on. So 120 million workers will need to be retrained due to AI. That's as per IBM. 120 million workers need to be retrained, so their jobs are being disrupted. 87% of senior business leaders say digitalization is a company priority. That's as per the Gartner. So most of the people, the majority of the people admit that this is a priority. So 66% of CEOs expect their company to change its business model in the next 3 years. And that study was in 2019. So we are already there. So it was 66%, and now I think it's more. 49% of CIOs report business models change and is underway. This is what they say. I've seen another study showing 55%. So at least 50% of the CIOs admit that there's something going underway on the business model. 62% of the CEOs say that the management, they have a management initiative and they will be going into a transformation effort. 41% of CEOs think their company is an innovation pioneer, an all-time high, which is threatening actually the possibility of effective transformation moving forward. I think I've finished before the expected time, but I wanted to use this opportunity to share some insights, and I'm open for questions in case of anybody would like to ask a question in that context. I'm very happy to respond.
Well, as of now, Abdul, we don't have any questions coming in. However, if we do find any questions in the chat box towards the end of the session, we will drop an email to you so that you can address them individually.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and I hope you have benefited from this presentation.
Definitely, it was a very insightful session. Thank you so much, Abdul.
Welcome. Bye-bye.